book, now that I've talked about myself, I want to talk about my role in this book. But before I talk about this book, I need to give you the history of the book that preceded this book. Sincerely Your Autistic Child is a republication of a book that was published some years ago called What Every Autistic Girl Wishes Her Parents Knew. And this book actually won the Autism Society of America Outstanding Literary Work of the Year, which was a prestigious award that was given for many years to various different, authors. And it was edited by Emily Page Ballou, Christina Thomas, and Sharon Davenport. I bring this up. The image that you see on the screen, the drawing, the cover drawing, was drawn by Haley Moss, who some of you might know as an autistic activist, and also one of the first openly autistic Florida attorneys that to pass the board and kind of share a lot about her life. And so this book was created because at the time, and still now, we know there's a lot of diagnostic disparities for if you were for people who are assigned female at birth or who are gender diverse. It's not always clear. We don't obtain diagnoses as early as others. There's a lot of diagnostic overshadowing. We are often given various different diagnoses before we get our own. And so at the time, there was an organization called Autism Women's Network, and it was designed to give voice to women and girls, as they were often, ignored and unheard of. And it was open to other, it was a gender diverse organization overall. It was open to others, but that was their criteria, that was their focus. Over time, things started to change, both in the organization and in our community. First, we started to understand that girls probably grow up to be adults, whether they be adult women, adult men, adult individuals, however they might identify. We also realized that the spectrum, as we knew it at the time, then, was, under DSM-4 was seen as autistic disorder, pervasive developmental disorder, not otherwise specified, Asperger's syndrome, Rett disorder, and child disintegrative disorder. Those kind of those little elements of the spectrum were kind of merged into one, and not to erase them, because there is a lot of heterogeneity on the spectrum, but because they're kind of essentially various elements of the same thing. That is it. I don't know how to explain that. I guess like when you think about life, humanity. When I think about a dolphin, or I think about a cow, or I think about myself, we're all living beings, we're all mammals, but we're very different from one another. And so over time, the organization not only changed its name from Autism Women's Network to Autistic Women and Non-Binary Network to be more representative of the leadership, it also realized that the book, while a good book, was missing voices of people on the spectrum. It was missing voices of people from different parts of the world and different experiences, and they wanted to expand. And so the original team, minus one, because the person was working on their doctorate at the time and a little overwhelmed, which I can understand and respect. I was brought in to assist, and we signed a contract with Beacon Press, who has has published amazing books, and Sincerely Your Autistic Child was born. And we describe it as a part guide, part love letter, part journal, type of book, in that it is not designed to be like this super academic book. And in fact, I'm going to go back one more slide before I go back to this one. For some people who might be familiar with my work, the initial anthology or edited collection that I was involved in, that Kristen mentioned, was called All the Weight of Our Dreams on Living Racialized Autism. And in that book, we have a statement about how intentionally we as editors take a very hands-off type of approach, in that if there are spelling mistakes, grammar mistakes, as long as they don't change the meaning of the statement too much, we left them. We wanted it to be unvarnished. In a world where everything is photoshopped and perfect and cropped and pretty, we wanted to show just the real, ethereal voices of our people. And our people are not always perfect. And so while that is not the exact approach that we took with Sincerely Autistic Child, we had some similarity in that we gave people a topic to write about and we let them write. And so we didn't try to harmonize it across individuals. So one contributor might have given some advice, and another contributor might have given some advice, and there might be some overlap. But we felt like that just, emphasized the importance of that, what they were sharing. So we weren't trying to fact check everything that people said. It wasn't intended to be like a guide for clinicians, so to speak, but we feel like it is useful for that because it's people sharing their lived experiences and what they know in a practical, matter of fact way with parents.